Welcome back, welcome back. I hope you're already enjoying the music that we've put together. And like we're saying, we're starting the month in high spirits. So if you're out there and you're feeling low, well, this show is for you. Well, today on the show, like I said, we are talking about remember God in the days of your youth. And in studio with me, I have Pastor Mukisa Andrew. He is a youth pastor at the Universal Apostles Fellowship Church of Righteousness. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Mukisa Andrew, as you said, a member of that church you have mentioned. I'm also so glad and excited to be here, not for any cause, but on behalf of the youths. And on a theme that you have just mentioned, remember my Creator in the days of my youth, before the days of evil come.
Okay, so before we talk about the topic today, I just want you to, tell us more about the Universal Apostles Church. What is it all about? What makes it so different?
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned it so well. Universal Apostles Fellowship Church of Righteousness is so different and unique. Yes, it is part of the doctrines or the religions, but its doctrines are so unique you cannot find them anywhere. This is a church which started way back in 1963. The founder member, Noah Kalange, is so rest in peace, but he's still alive through the doctrine he taught us. It is continuing because the gospel of Jesus Christ starts but it doesn't die. It continues for generations and generations. It started by a calling from God. Of course, he was a member of other churches. I think he was a member of Elim Church. And of course, he had this calling of righteousness. That word bothers people so much. And most of the people say you cannot be righteous. You cannot be holy. Now, Noah's calling, he emphasized the righteousness. That makes us so unique. Why righteousness? Righteousness is doing the will of God. You forego what you feel you should do by yourself, but you do the will of God. But in the end of it all, the will of God brings much more joy, much more peace, and unites you with God. Once you do what the Father wants, you're united with Him. So it is righteousness which unites man with God. That's why even in the beginning, God created man in His image, and man was upright. But along the way, man started deviating or being derailed from what the Lord instructed him to do, and we lost that relationship. That's why God has been trying every generation. He sends a prophet to try and tell these people. A prophet is a mouthpiece of God. Tell the people what the will of God is, and those who do the will of God, they become friends with God. Noah was in Elim Church, Prophet Noah, but he saw that what led to the destruction of our ancestors. Look at Noah's time, the Noah in the Bible. You saw that people started now doing things contrary to what God demanded. They started desiring, marrying the way they wanted, doing all sorts of evil. Now God became annoyed. He just sent a flood. Now Noah, because he was righteous, he was moving with God. He didn't have any stain or blemish before the Lord. He's the only one who was saved. He was united with God because of his righteousness. Righteousness was performed when he was still alive. Now, coming to this, the founder of this church, when he was in Elim Church, they had crusades, they had those overnights and so on. But now people were again going back to picking on girls, sleeping with the other. I was like, no. Now he was like, I cannot continue. Because they read the Bible. He was also reading the Bible, and he saw what led to the destruction of the others. He quit. Now the calling came upon him, and he was like, you have to start a church which is on the doctrine of the Lord, that makes someone friendly to God, and the pillar righteousness came up. Now,
so sorry for interrupting a bit.
Yes.
Again, according to what we were informed, that this ministry is not affiliated to any faith. What exactly is its doctrine?
Now the doctrine, as I mentioned, righteousness is number one. We must be righteous because God is righteous. True. Actually, 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 13 tells us to be sober in everything that we do, alert, knowing that everything we do has to be judged by God. Now, since God is holy, they command us to be holy. That is the book, around verse 15. As God is holy, we must be holy. Now, that is number one doctrine. Number two, marriage. One man, one woman. And one man, one woman. Not man and man, not man and women, not woman and woman, but one man, one woman. Now, in the process of moving, since we are humans, we have to be guided. Once you do something which is trying to deviate from what is supposed to be, someone has to call you. Now we have the court. Internally ourselves, before we wait for judgment day, we walk our lives with that awesome fear that once I deviate from the principle or the doctrine, I'm going to be called and tasked or asked, why did you deviate from this? Because our doctrine is all reflected in the Bible. It is the gospel of Jesus Christ we are continuing, we are furthering. So the court also comes in. Yes, you asked, you're taken through the sessions, and once you're convicted, you find your way. Yes, that is the doctrine.
Okay, so according to, again, according to the ministry, you lean more, the ministry leans more to teaching the youth. Why? Do you have more young people in church? Why the youth? Why do you lean more to that?
Oh, you see, the youth are many. Worldwide. Actually, in Uganda alone, from the demographic results, what they reported recently, Uganda has over 78% are youths. And remember, the same Bible tells us that you must train up a child when they are still young.
Yes.
Once someone grows up in a culture and they grow, they become experts in it, changing that person from that attitude is so difficult. So we train up a child from when they're still young, such that even when they grow, they will not depart from it, they'll maintain. So why the youths? This is a season of holiday, and the population is, the biggest percentage is youths. And remember, we want this doctrine to continue. So we must bring the youth on board from childhood. Like me personally, I believe I've been given this chance by my dad, say Prophet David, who is now the leader of this church. We call him Father because he has mentored us, he has shown us love, he has trained us to love God and move in godliness. We don't regret. What we've gotten is so much. So because I've been brought up in this doctrine, I've gotten chance today to come and be with you in studio, to continue encourage and urge my fellow youths to move according to the will of God. Yes, for he tells us we have to be happy, we have to rejoice, we have to do everything. But many people forget that in everything that you do, God is going to judge you. They forget about that.
Yeah, so but why specifically the youth? Like, what do you see in the youth that puts you on that tension to pay attention to the youth? Yes. Now,
what makes us concentrate on the youths, given the population, the number, the percentage in our population, and what the Bible talks about the youth, even as physically, we see that a youth has to be strong. Once you impart anything in a youth, you know it will continue with vigor. Yes, even currently when you look at the world, everything is dwindling because the youths have come up, they are not guided, they are not maintained in the right way. You see, whatever is brought up, save for maybe economic development, maybe for any success in an organization or institution, if youths grab it and they misunderstand it, they're going to drive it to a wrong direction and you will not achieve. That's why...
Okay, so speaking of the wrong direction, Pastor Andrew, as a youth leader in your church, what do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges facing young people or faced by the young people? What could be the causes of inappropriate behavior among them?
Initially, youths were a little behaved according to those standards because they were respecting their leaders in family, in clan. Now, our ancestors reached a time and they started mentoring youths, but in the elections which made them just parents to benefit from the child, not a child to grow up knowing I have to help the entire community, I have to be of use to the country and be patriotic. Now, at some point, these children started going to school and becoming exposed to other people from other communities, especially now the Western. They see the culture, the traditional mentorship is not working out. Now, failure to get someone to bring them back on board, everyone follows what comes up. Look at technology, look at group influence, look at all that. Without anyone guiding them, you find they become destructive. Actually, they become a public nuisance and a threat to communities, which they're supposed to be contributing. As I said, a youth is strong. When you read 1 John chapter 2, verse, I think 15, John wrote to the youths and said, I write to you youths because you are strong. The word of God is in you and you have overcome the devil. But now the reverse is true. The devil has taken captive of the youths, makes a youth who is supposed to be constructive, he makes him a murderer. A youth who is supposed to be constructive and respectable dresses indecently. A youth who is supposed to be healthy, they are chewing funny things. They are becoming addicts. Now, that's why now in this church, we have a prophet sent to reorganize, recollect all the morals of people, teach the people the will of God, such that you rejoice in godliness, you develop in godliness. That's why now we have this motto, this theme, patriotic.
Yeah. We are going to be discussing patriotism in that a bit later. And I just want to throw this to my colleague Q. I liked what Pastor just said. That instead of the youth contributing to the communities, they're becoming a nuisance.
Yes, and they're destructive.
And which is so true, because let me talk about the simplest of things we did when we were younger. The simplest, I mean, they're not so big, but the simplest. If you found somebody carrying a jerrycan of water and they're older than you, you were meant to help them carry it. If you found an elderly people with a person with anything heavy, you are supposed to help them with these, carry them. But today we walk past. So these are very simple things, but this is really humility and character and morals. I mean, good morals. I remember when we were younger, you would not pass anybody without saying hello.
Yes.
How?
How dare you?
How dare you? I mean, you're young, but so we always fear to be called Banabana Tebaina Pisa. So what's your take on what Pastor Andrew is saying as we continue with our conversation, Q?
Yeah, like he has actually highlighted, there is a lot of work that needs to go into bringing the youth back to line. Many have grown up, I won't call it like wildflowers. No guidance, no direction, no. So they are just living. And they're now, you know, living by what they have seen on the TVs and the movies and what the nannies have taught them. Because, you know, at some point the parents are at work and the kids grow up with the nannies. So they're now living with what, you know, so those morals were not really impacted. So there has to go back to the basics, the roots, to actually equip
but again, Q, I want to again ask, and I mean, now let's have a conversation, the three of us. Again, I want to ask, could it be just the youth in the central, in the city centers? Because again, when you travel up country, especially in deep say in the villages,
the rural areas,
you find it's very different. There's so much respect. Yes, the youth will always be youth. You see that there is a bit of, you know, hype and everything. But again, there is that respect. The ladies, the girls are really girls. They respect their parents. They do the work they have to do at home. The boys are boys, of course. They'll get on their bicycles and what. But you'll never stop. If I mean, each time I'm up country and I see anybody, you never stop them to ask them anything, and they just walk past you or bounce up on you. So could it be a problem for the children that are being raised in the city centers or in the central, or is it a general thing?
Now, I don't want to say it is in among the youths that are raised up in the city centers. Even those in the cities, I want to tell you there are those now in the city who are now guided by the prophet or someone who knows what the Lord wants the youths to be, who are upright. But still you can find in the villages, someone falls with a jerrycan in the village, and a youth, instead of helping, they're laughing. Of course, in the cities, people have even smartphones. These are the things you see on WhatsApp, TikTok. Someone needs help. Actually, they've got to a level, someone is being hurt, and the other, instead of helping, they are capturing. Why? there is something that they lack. It is all the work of the devil. And who has to change the morals and bring it in the rural, in the village, in the cities, in everywhere. It is not only in Uganda, but even abroad. It is the prophet to guide those people back. Because traditionally, it was making them fear spirits. They tell you, don't sit on a mortar, pounding mortar, because you're going to get a disease. They fear that. Now, the Bible tells us to have the awesome fear of the Lord and move like the Lord desires. You know,
you just mentioned something that reminded me of when we were younger. We were told not to sweep the house in the night.
In fear of maybe...
And not to call anybody in the night. I mean, and by the way, I have my wonderful house manager. At home, we call them house managers. If you called her in the night, maybe say you're in a different room and you're trying to call her, and she'll never answer you, but you'll see her right in front of you.
Yeah, there are a lot of...
Which is very interesting. So Q,
yeah.
What's your take on all this that we are discussing?
There is a need for a lot of work. People have got to get more intentional with actually the direction they want the youth to take. And this actually now just brings me to pose a question over here to Pastor. And the thing is, you see, you've talked about the youths are losing track. The youths are, and you've come up and said, you know, through the prophet, you're trying to put them back in line. So what skills, do these young people need to be grounded? Yes.
Now, being grounded, a youth must recognize his importance. The youth has to have love for God. And once you have love for God, then you love everything around you, including yourself.
True.
You cannot do this without being taught on how to have this heart of love. The help and the support you were talking about, Flower, it is out of love, out of empathy. Now, if you're not instructed, if you're not taught, and that thing grows within your heart, you will not do it. Now, the skills cannot be imparted by anyone. Like this physical, maybe engineers, doctors, and so you're taught to do it. Even having that heart, that is a heart of God, you're taught by someone. And not everyone can teach. That's why I'm emphasizing the point of a prophet. A prophet transforms. A prophet teaches. A prophet guides, and the prophet, a true prophet, is given power. Not everyone who is going to speak is going to make people understand and they accept, but a prophet is given right by God because he's a mouthpiece. Once he talks to you, he guides you. Whatever talent that you have, whatever environment that you're in, there is an opportunity for you to show that God is working within you to help another person. So it is the word that everyone needs. And the word is with the Lord's prophet.
Okay, so apart, Pastor, still apart from the guidance of a leader, a spiritual leader, what do you think as a ministry, now that you're a youth pastor in your ministry, what are some of those activities that should be put in place to keep the youth grounded? Why do we ask this? Pastor, you have to understand that mainstream has so many interesting activities that are keeping people grounded, but in the wrong way.
True.
So as a ministry, how do you say, let me do this and attract these young people to keep in a place of holiness, to live a holistic lifestyle?
I want to thank you for that question. You said we shall discuss the patriotism bit later.
Yeah, we are coming there.
But part of the activities that we do are the crusades that we have. You see, people out there have concerts which gather a lot of people, and different people come with different intentions. At times, other concerts, people come to pick wives, others come to steal, others come to do what. But now, once you organize such crusades, you're edifying, you're extending the word into the youths. Now, when the youths come, they discover their talents. We support each and everyone's talent. Of course, knowing that we must sustain those talents ourselves without bending low to other people who want to utilize our talents for their selfish benefits. Now, a youth, if you're a musician, we have a ministry of the singers. The youths, the girl youths have a leader and from the mainstream, from the top level, up to the home, we have leadership, and we have those cohorts or groups that come together for those minor activities. Now, given the fact that we have to sustain ourselves through those structures, we call them ministries or gifts, like the girl youths, the boy youths, we have the married, we have the elites, those who have gone to school, like I went to school up to university, I'm now working. We have those for workers. We bring together people who have similar challenges. And amidst those groups, we've been taught to be creative. How do we use this age? How do we use this group to sustain ourselves? So there are several activities. Of course, those who are outside, okay, those who are like in the working group, there are special activities, maybe special businesses. Those ones bring them together. So activities for the young are there. What has attracted so much the youths is music. So we have a ministry of the Kerubim, the singers. Everyone who has a talent is also brought on board, and of course supported right by the leader up to the grassroots. So it keeps them together.
Wow, Q.
I was actually just about to ask, you talked about impacting through the Crusades and whatnot. And my next question, you somehow hinted on it. Out of the Crusades,
yes,
beyond the Crusade, you've talked about the ministries, and what more is the church, your church, pushing to maintain these youth from deviating? Because see, there's just having a ministry and you're like, that is the ministry of the working people. And they come on Sunday, they sing, and that is it, and it ends there. Beyond this, we see on a regular, what is there that goes to the grassroots, that goes beyond, that has been implemented to make sure that, okay, we put these people in a straight line and are going to stay in that line?
Yes, you see, the youths, most of the youths had lost hope. Most of them are like, we don't have capital, we don't have what, we don't have what. So what grounds these people, or what has grounded us? The leader of this ministry, the leader of this church, I want to assure you, he knows all of us. Not that I come to church, he preaches, I offer and go, and that is it. He follows me, everything that I do, he knows. When he sees there is a weak point, maybe there is something that maybe is trying to bring a challenge to me, through the structure, as I said, from the national level. I believe one time you hosted the leader of the youths at the national level. He was by the name Alexis Ogo, our leader as boy youths. We have that structure from top up to my village church. We have a leader of a youth. Now, through the leader, he mobilizes us, we share the challenges, and we know we want to move forward. We are supported spiritually, we are supported morally, and at times where there is need to pull resources to see that we develop, we do. And that connectivity binds us together. I want to tell you, even if I move from here and I go to Mbarara, they welcome me as a brother. They welcome as a member of that family. So the leader has made a big family where in every situation we share. That has made us move together and being self-reliant and enjoying the Lord's presence.
Amen. That's really interesting. And I just, maybe right now we will take a break, but when we come back, I'd also want to talk about the second Patriotic Youth Conference. It's a conference, Crusade?
Yeah, it's a Crusade.
Crusade. And also we just want to ask about your ministry. Do you have branches? Before we get into a break, do we have branches?
Yeah, in Uganda we have over 2,000 branches.
That's big.
And now I want to tell you that right here, you're airing. I'm happy to be on a national TV, and of course in your month of birth.
Oh,
happy birthday. But I want to tell you, so many.
So you noted that.
Yeah, I noted. I want to tell you that in Uganda alone, over 2,000 branches. But even abroad, even right here, if you have social media handles, people are following. Yeah. We have members abroad. You still mention UK, China, where they are following. We have the following. Okay. So everyone there is under the same leadership, the same prophet, the same leader, Prophet David. So everything that we do is across so many branches.
And right now we will be having our break, and when we come back we'll be talking about the second Patriotic Youth Crusade. What is it all about? What should we expect? When is it happening? And of course we'll continue with our discussion. And if you're out there and you're a young person and you have questions for Pastor Andrew Mukisa, please feel free to find us on our Facebook page, which is Ntv Gxp or Ntv Uganda, and we'll be more than happy to read your questions, and I'm very sure he'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. As you can see, he's also a young pastor, so he understands your challenges and he also understands your strength and your weaknesses. So we're here to uplift each other, you know. And for now, let's have a short break. When we come back, of course, lots of more music and conversation, so don't go away. Sounds of Cooper G-Way, great music he always has. And you know what, Q, the interesting part about Cooper is he writes his own music.
Many people
arranges his own music, and you know, and I always wondered, don't you ever run out of lyrics? Because every time he releases a song, it's very meaningful.
Yes, very, very true.
And welcome back from that short break, and we're still here with the youth pastor, Andrew Mukisa. He's, you know, really shared a lot with us and also opened our eyes to a number of things, especially us who already have youths in our homes. So, Pastor Andrew, you are here to also tell us about the Youth Crusade happening this weekend in Kaliro. Tell us, what is it all about, and what informed the choice of the theme?
Yeah, the crusade is about the youths.
Yes.
But now the youths, with its composition, as we said, it is a crusade that is about the entire world. As I said, with our branches here, we have social media handles. We are followed across the globe because the challenges of the youths are challenges of the nation and are challenges of the world. There is a lot of chaos. There is a lot of bloodshed. There is a lot of mess. There is a lot of early pregnancies. There is a lot of everything that is evil. So this comes timely that once the youth is impacted, the world or the country stabilizes. Now the choice of the motto, the theme, is from what we are seeing. Youths who were upright, people who were fine, are now derailed from the Lord. And in so doing, as I said, they're becoming destructive. Once we remember the youth, the Lord during this period, we shall build our nation, we shall build our homes, we shall restore hope to even our elders or our parents. Parents have lost hope in children, and others have resorted to just dumping them. And the best they can do, please go and try your levels maybe in the cities. The cities become crowded, the vices are everywhere. Now, remembering the Lord restores peace, restores hope to the youth, and we shall develop. Now, patriotism is the love for the country and devotion to building our nation. Carol, when you look at the country, even presidents have tried to come up with initiatives to see that the country develops, to see that people have peace, to see that there is this livelihood. But because the youths who are energetic, who are supposed to build the nation, are not doing what is supposed to be done, we are not getting anywhere. You've heard of programs or initiatives, skilling the youth, skilling the girl and boy ward, the youth livelihood. Those are government programs which are supposed to empower the youth to build our country. It is not. Now, the prophet comes to remind the youths to remember the Lord, and whatever resources that we have are just enough to make us happy and to develop us and to give us a life that we want, both here and even after. Now the prophet calls upon the youths, but of course the youths need someone to remind them. So the parents are also invited along to be reminding. Good enough, this Patriotic Youth Mega Crusade is not the first of its kind. The prophet got this vision and calling, and last year, as you can see, he organized one. Now this is where people expected to come and find the musicians with dreads, find those sending the message with skimpy dresses, find maybe people flexing here and there, But when you look at the message that were there, because of the word that the prophet has, it is the power of the Lord had to tame all those youths together. You see, people are happy. People are singing. Those with talents to sing are singing. And some who came thinking a youth has to struggle in life. Others say, I want to quote, Kuyuwa wo mubiri. That is like already instigating shed of blood, which is not right. Flexing to achieve anything. Now, once you believe in God, you have already hope. And once you abide by the word, the prophet who has been sent by God, then you succeed because you have a blessing. Now, that time, for the first mega crusade, we had so many who came out of excitement. Let's go and rob, let's go and do what, let's go and do what. Right now, their lives are transformed. Those who used to say, celeb tazimba, as in a celebrity, you will not build. Anywhere you go, you fit in too. You're in parties, and that's the joy they thought. Right now, they are like, oh, we wasted a lot of time. They've started constructing houses. They've started also being people who are welcomed in communities because they are coming, they are polite, they are humble. We are taught righteousness. It has a lot of things encompassed in it. So we have this second one now, where we believe once so many youths come, and of course we are calling upon everyone, even you, we are inviting you. Please, you come and have that feeling. You listen to the message, you'll see the joy that comes from the Lord, which is not joy after you have lost your sense. Others believe are becoming happier and dancing, and you must change your mind. You change your mind, intoxicate it with maybe drugs and so on. Here, the Holy Spirit guides the joy. So we are inviting people for this, to build that spirit of love for our country. Once you love your country, you start with yourself. You cannot destroy your life. Youths are addicted to drugs. They waste their lives. They would be useful to the country. They are not, because they don't have the heart for the Lord. They don't have the Lord in them.
Yes.
So here we are going to learn what God instructs the youth to do. And of course, once the prophet teaches and you accept with your heart and he dedicates you to the presence of the Lord, you have been given the power to overcome. We shall not say there are no challenges. Someone stated that you cannot prevent birds from flying above over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest in your hair. As a youth, you go through a lot of challenges. Personally, I went through a lot of challenges. Yes. And some people thought by going to university, because I was in a single-sex school in Kira College Boutique for 6 years, you're going to die from there. But because I was trained by Prophet David, by the teacher, and the structure up to the grassroots, I've been mentored knowing what I'm supposed to do at what time. I emerged a successful person with my bachelor's. Right now, I'm serving the government as a fisheries officer in Jinja. And by way of training and mentorship by the prophet through such crusades, such seminars that he has, even at my workplace, I believe if my bosses are watching, they will call and say yes. They trust me with a lot of things. I'm not a thief. I'm not jumping from this and that. I devote my life to saying whatever resource that has been given to help a community, to touch a soul, it is allocated and it has to implement what it is supposed to. That has been taught by prophet, the love for my country.
Wow.
So you want to have more
I love
with
that
this.
part, because Q, you'll agree with me that a number of, I think we even discussed it last Sunday, a number of people teach the youth, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, but they don't teach the youth to love their country and to also follow politics of their country, because again, much as we teach the youth God, they are the future leaders of this country. And if we don't teach them morals on how to be godly and still be political, we are also not doing something right. There's a gap there, but that will be a conversation for another day. So what activities do you have, or what activities have you put in place to make it more interesting on the next weekend in the crusade? I mean, apart from preaching the gospel, what else should the youth look out for? Yeah,
there is a lot of fun. Of course, as we said, we have so many branches across the globe. There are a lot of activity, including presentations. People are, maybe some of them are local, they are like in one locality for so many years. In that crusade, we are going to share with people from various regions. We shall see how Westerners worship, how Westerners praise, those the creativity bit of it. Of course, we shall see testimonies from those who have gone through a number of systems. Last time you hosted Professor Bazira. He's a lawyer, but a minister in church. So sharing those testimonies, how do you overcome this? How it will build the moral, it will build the hope of so many youths. Even we have those who were wasted, but by the hand of the Lord, they were snatched from the hands of the devil. Right now, they are so happy, and we have testimonies, of course. As I said, we have presentations. We have politicians who will also tell the people how they are finding maybe the members of this church and the rest, and trying to harmonize. You see, we really need a country that is prosperous. We cannot do it without God. We are going to experience the Lord's presence.
Amen. Wow, Q. Wow. I can see you keep nodding your head. What's going through your mind?
I've been taking all of this, and I'm actually excited to see that people are intentionally going back and picking out the youth and trying to give them direction. Now, talking about the crusade itself, I just wanted to find out, all you've said sounds very exciting, sounds very worthwhile for a youth to attend. Now, for the people watching us, how does one get involved? How do they get involved? How do they come to the grounds and all of this? How does one get involved in this crusade?
Yeah, now, given the branches that we have, of course, we know people in different localities. We have representatives in all the places that the viewers are. So getting involved, of course, you have a contact person that you have to get to. We shall have maybe the general contact, whereby once you tell us where you are, we shall link you to that person who can help you get the means to that place. And once you're there, from the experience, the Lord tells us to go and make disciples. You will not be instructed to go and tell others. You just find compelled by the Holy Spirit from what you will have seen, from what you will have learned, to go and tell another person. Now, the contact people in those regions, for us, we categorize them as zones, but nationally they are like districts. In Kampala we have, everywhere we have. They'll guide you on how to get yourself in that place. Now, involvement, your presence there is already involvement in that crusade. And your extension of what you have learned is another level again, and you'll be rewarded for it. You'll get a blessing, and you see your life changed.
It's also another involvement.
Yes, and also in the different regions, apparently we are having some, we call them drives, mobilization. We move around with posters, we have our banners, we have our flyers, of course even these t-shirts. Once you send a person with it, please, with the contact person in that region, we shall qualify them. Because maybe opportunists can also get some of these attires, but no one can fight God. The true ones will be revealed.
So all are welcome, whether you...
Everyone is welcome.
Like what you mentioned earlier, some people eat, chew things, you know. So whether you do that or you just come.
Come. You'll be transformed by the power of the word. Of course, this is not a church where it tells you come as you are and you come and remain. Because we know the cause of that is not you, not me, but the devil who takes away my understanding. And the person who has been given power to cast that devil out is the prophet. You'll be transformed.
Before we get, you did just reiterate on the when and the where this crusade is happening.
Yeah, this crusade is on the 8th day of this month. That is just Sunday next week. It will be in Kaliro district, the memorial grounds. The place is called Chirama, commonly known as Chirama. But as long as you're in Kaliro, everyone will be ready to direct you. And of course, if you cannot move by yourself, the contact persons will lead you. And even those maybe for one reason or another are not able to attend physically, we shall be live on Spark TV, we shall be live, and some other radios.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, please.
So Pastor, as we come to the end of our conversation, I have one of the few questions I want to ask now before we release you.
Yes,
because we are really honored to have you. You are a youth pastor you said you went through 6 years of education, went through campus, but because of the mentorship by your parents, kept you intact.
Parents,
Yes.
spiritual parents.
Yes, spiritual parents. Oh, okay.
And the doctrine of this church.
Okay,
Of
kept
course,
you intact.
children are no longer respecting, very few, because they see, if once you study, you feel your parent is low, what?
Matter of fact, yesterday I was speaking to a certain lady who happened to play a role in one of the churches around Kampala, and she was expressing her worries in regards to the youth. She kept saying, you know what, Carol, today when we were in church, when we were growing up as a youth in church, we respected our church leadership. But today, a lot of youth in church itself don't respect the leadership in church. They are, I know it all, I know better, you cannot tell me like this, you cannot talk to me like this. And a number of them have ended up leaving to start their own ministries, but they don't understand that if you don't have enough mentorship and moral, you cannot stand. But now coming back to our conversation, I want to ask you, as someone who is heading the youth and mentoring the youth, where do you think parents are not doing right as far as raising a youth is concerned?
Now, parents are not doing right because they are not guided. You cannot do something right when you yourself, you're not righteous. Because once you tell someone, do as I say, but don't do as I do, no one can take that doctrine, no one can take that gospel or message. That's why parents are invited to be taught by the teacher of righteousness, to tell them how to lead their lives right. And once they lead their lives right, they will be able to instruct their children and they will respect. Once you tell me, don't eat this, and for you you're eating, I'll know you have selfish reasons as to why you're forbidden
but sometimes we also, in regards to that specific point, Pastor, we have parents who are struggling with certain addictions, hidden addictions that probably their children have found out. And it is shame to them, it is an addiction, they're struggling, and they will stand up and say, do not do what I am doing. You have to do things the right way. We have that category of parents. How do we help them out of this? You know, because that is also very key. Sometimes not every parent will stop a child from doing something they're doing, not just because they're selfish. Sometimes it's they have a struggle and they do not want to see their children go through that struggle just like them. They're trying to prevent it.
Now, you will forgive me for emphasizing, but it is the truth. There is nothing that is impossible, and I want to emphasize with God. Once you have the true, the living God, there is no bondage, there is no addiction, there is no spirit that can fail the Lord. But people are struggling because they have teachers who are not telling them the truth. And the so-called teachers, they don't have the power to cast that devil out of those people. That's why they are struggling. From experience, as I said, once you come to Chirama, or once you tune in, testimonies of such parents, you'll see them, because I've heard from them, I've seen them, they've come for counseling, and once the prophet raises a hand upon them and they abide by the instructions, no addiction can fail. You want to say there are some addictions which are stronger than God? No. Once those people are doing that, let them just know one thing: they don't have the living God. Maybe they are mentored into something which is God, but not the living God. That is the problem. And such things have hidden themselves in churches. You can't say they are not respecting leaders, they are not doing what. For us, when you look at the videos for Last Crusade, because this one has been given the power to transform and to change, his single word, everyone reacts accordingly. For he is exemplary. He has led his life, he has been a youth, and is a youth. We've seen his journey. Whatever he tells us not to do, he has overcome it. Not like pastors or other people who say what, and you find they're also getting another wife. Such you find them also fighting, so also putting on rags as clothes, but is a pastor. No one will respect such a person. You have to respect yourself before you can be respected. You have to change your life before you can change someone's life.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pastor Andrew Mukisa. And maybe before we come to the end of our conversation, would you kindly say a word of encouragement to every youth watching you right now?
Yes, I want to encourage, of course, first mobilize them, all of us, not only the youth, but even the parents, this crusade is for everyone, and not like other crusades whereby you pay to enter. This is free, and we've gotten to a level whereby if you're incapacitated and you cannot lead yourself to that place, with the contact person we shall give you, they will help you, because for us we are self-sustaining and we are family. Once I want you to get there, we shall try to find means that we get there and enjoy and experience the presence of God, and we get a transformation in our lives, and we build a future, I hope, that we lead our lives that are meaningful. We benefit our communities, we benefit our parents, we benefit our country, and we develop together. So all youths are invited, parents are invited. Come 8th September, let's meet in Chirama.
Yes.
I've been transformed, I'm enjoying my life, of course happily married with one wife.
Oh, nice.
Because I told you one of the doctrines in this church is marriage, woman, man, and of course blessed with children.
Yes.
Amen.
I don't regret being a son of Prophet David.
Maybe before we go off, you kept promising to leave that contact number.
Apparently we can use 0754 45 99 55.
Can you say that again? A bit slower.
0754 45 99 55.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Probably those who want mine personally, because maybe we studied together, they need to, how did you get there? How did you find this? It is 0703 83 0904.
Can you say it again?
0703 83 0904.
Okay,
that one is directly to me.
Thank you I'm so sorry, due to time we have to come to the end of this conversation. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence in this place, and thank you for sharing with us what you think the youth should be and the way forward for the youth, and encouraging the youth to keep grounded in the Word of God. And maybe before we come to the end of our conversation with Pastor Andrew Mukisa, allow me to read the scriptures that come from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, 1-3, that say, don't let the excitement of your youth cause you to forget your Creator. Honor Him in your youth before you grow old and say life is not pleasant anymore. Remember Him before the light of the sun, moon, and the stars are dim to your old eyes, and rain clouds continually darken your sky. Remember Him before your legs, the guards of the house, start to tremble, and before your shoulders, the strong men stoop. Remember Him before your teeth, your few remaining servants stop grinding, and before your eyes, the women looking through the windows see dimly. So remember those words, and thank you very much for tuning in today. Of course, we are still on the show. The music is still still on. So remember to put on your dancing shoes, and we will be back shortly. Thank you very much, Pastor, for coming.
Thank you.